it moving. Cars, they keep improving. As long as we keep the movement, the money will keep improving. You win? I need that stink, that P.U. Center of New York, I played like P.U. And sold plenty Knicks. Don't need a penny, miss. Shorty need to hit me quick.
What is up? Welcome to another episode of Maximilian Must Know. Got a fairly under the radar scent to talk about today. This one is from the house of Dunhill, and it is called Icon. Now, Dunhill is a house that I go back with, folks. I actually went on a cruise in 2000, and in the duty free, I bought a bottle of Dunhill Desire, which is a really nice sort of generic fragrance, but I get so many compliments, or I got so many compliments on that one. I do not have it anymore. Not really interested in going back to it. Maybe someday we'll see. Sort of an apple spice scent that Mikhail Almarak did, and Cuba Paris really, I think, imitated it well in a fragrance they have called Orange. And that one's like $5. Anyway, I was sort of looking through newer releases this year, and I saw that Dunhill had this new scent called Icon. And the notes to me looked really interesting, and the bottle looked really cool. And before we get into it, let's talk about Alfred Dunhill. This is a British house that goes back to 1893. Mainly, now they do clothing, luxury goods and accessories, cigarettes and cigars included. But back then, Alfred Dunhill took over his father's business in London. His father had a business making saddles. And around that time, the automobile industry was taking off. And so Alfred wisely switched from doing saddles to making accessories for cars. So they did like custom horns, custom car lamps, dashboard clocks, also did overcoats and goggles and other clothing for drivers. In 1907, Dunhill did really well with that, so he separately opened a tobacco shop. And in 1910, he started a pipe factory, and Dunhill made these signature pipes that had these white dots on them, and their tobacco business did really well. They expanded that business to Paris in New York, and matter of fact, guys, in World War II, it was Dunhill that kept Winston Churchill, made sure he had stock of his favorite cigars while he was fighting the Nazis and the rest of the Axis powers. Dunhill's also really esteemed for their lighters. They were the first manufacturer to develop a lighter that could be opened with one hand. Their cigarette brand began in 1963. They're also really obsessed with giving their shoppers great consumer experiences, and their retail locations are called homes. So you can shop for Dunhill stuff there. You can also get wine there. You get a haircut at their flagship in London. They have a spa. You can take in a film in their theater room. They really sort of make their stores almost like clubs for their customers. And you might know them sort of more recently for doing a lot of accessories for James Bond films. Now, this brand definitely had a lull in the 1980s and 90s, but in 2008 they hired their first creative director, a woman named Kim Jones, who subsequently left to become the men's creative director at Louis Vuitton. In 2005 they brought in tailor Richard James. They brought in a master watchmaker, Tom Bold. They brought in a casual fashion expert, Nick Ashley. They brought in a leathersmith named Bill Amberg. So they really made a push at making modern luxury goods. Did it work? I'm really not well versed enough with Dunhill to make that determination. I can tell you that I have a lot of respect for this house, but it's never a brand that I really felt that interested in. You know, I used to sometimes, when I had extra money in high school, smoke the Dunhill cigarettes, but other than that, in the fragrance, the one fragrance that I wore, I don't really have a huge history with Dunhill. Fragrance-wise, Inter Perfumes does their scents. They signed a 10-year deal with Inter in 2013 when their partnership with Procter & Gamble expired. They did their first scent in 1934, which is called Dunhill for Men, and since then they have a catalog of 19 fragrances. Only one of those 19 are made for women, and that's Desire for Women, which was a 2001 release. Inter Perfumes, they do a lot of houses that I have respect for. They do fragrances for Boucheron. They do fragrances for Lanvin. They do fragrances for Paul Smith. They do fragrances for Van Cleef & Arpels. So definitely Inter, I think, does a really good job as a conglomerate, fragrance conglomerate. So Icon, which is the one we're talking about today, came out this year, and Dunhill went all out on this one. They brought in Carlos Benaim to do this fragrance. He's also done Eternity, Polo Blue. This year he did Polo Oud Supreme, which I reviewed earlier this year. Nice, definitely a nice sort of spiced scent. For their bottle, they got famed designer Mark Eisen, and for the ad campaign, they brought in Annie Leibovitz to do the photography. So they were not messing around with this one. The notes on Icon are bergamot, neroli, black pepper, and petit grain at the top, lavender, cardamom, sage, and juniper in the middle, vetiver, oak moss, oud, leather, iris in the base. Now, I did get my bottle off of eBay. There are two sizes of this available. There's the 50 ml, which you guys see here. There's the 100 ml. I paid $55 for my 50 ml. There are some websites that sell this. I think Strawberry has it. But I would say expect to pay close to about 100 for the 100 ml or around 70 for the 50 ml. They are all EDP strength. Now, as far as your presentation goes, probably, and I might eat my words on this, probably the best designer presentation I've ever seen. So you have this gray box that just says Dunhill London Icon. You could see the pattern on the bottle is sort of the pattern on the box. It does tell you it's an eau de parfum right there. Information on the bottom, nothing on the back, nothing on the top. The bottle is bananas. It is at least 6 pounds, I would say. I might be crazy on that. It has Dunhill and what looks like is enamel on the top. The bottom is clear. You have this metal around the sides. You pull the cap off. The cap's really heavy. You have this mirrored finish where it says Alfred Dunhill, LTD London, and then you have the year they started. And the atomizer works so well on this. Juice comes out really evenly, and the cap is really heavy as well. It clicks into place. Now, you might be wondering what the deal is with the bottle. The bottle is meant to pay homage to the automobile, and it's meant to resemble the way the pattern that an engine turn will have on it. And I just think that detail is amazing. I think this one looks so great. I will tell you that if you drop this on your foot, you are fucked. You're either going to go to the hospital or you better have some Vicodins left over from your root canal, because this is a heavy, heavy bottle. As far as the fragrance goes, this scent, guys, is masterful. It's almost difficult for me to say more than that. Absolutely one of the best designer releases I can remember, and a real step in the right direction for Dunhill as a perfume maker. Now, on Fragrantica, this draws some comparisons to Terre de Hermes, and we'll talk about that later. What I get out of this one is just a fantastic citrus opening. It's very green, and it almost reminds me of a cross between Neo by Xerjoff and Kobe by Xerjoff, because there's a touch of green, but also this underlying gourmand sweetness that is so delectable and such a well-placed indicator of how this fragrance is going to evolve. As it dries down, after that citrus starts to slowly fade, is when you're going to start to experience some very refined and gentlemanly spice. You're going to get that lavender. That lavender is very prevalent in this fragrance, and the lavender is nicely accentuated with pepper, black pepper, a little bit of cardamom, and and then the juniper in there as well really helps to complement the lavender, that mix of the pepper, cardamom, and the juniper. It just makes this fragrance feel really alive. Dry down on this one to me is an accord of leather, vetiver, and a light dusting, and I do mean a light dusting of clean oud. I don't really get so much iris. Really more vetiver and leather than anything else. A little bit of oud, maybe a dot of iris. So I would think of this for your purpose as being a gorgeous, expressive citrus beginning, morphing into a sweetly spiced body, and the fragrance is anchored by leather, vetiver, and a little bit of funky wood. It's just one of the most ingenious compositions I've seen at this price point. Really unique and really elegant. It's EDP, but the staying power is not beast mode. It's pretty damn good. It's not loud, but it gives sillage. It projects softly. I think an understated luxury vibe was the idea behind this, and they nailed it. I think it's better suited for a man. The lavender and citrus and oak moss kind of make you think that you're in barbershop territory, but it's not the case. It's way more refined and complex than a barbershop scent. It's great. Great juice for the office, for dress-up occasions, for dates. signature scent worthy through and through. You can pull this off in any season without question. You might want to wear something a bit more transparent when the real heat hits, but doesn't seem to do that horrible in real heat. If you can't get this and you're looking for something comparable, I don't think Terra Hermes is close to this at all. I think it has elements of Kobe in it, this sort of sweet and citrus. The greenness reminds me a little bit of Neo, as I said. Reminds me a little bit of Supreme Oud in a way. That's another scent. That one's a lot more spicy. And then I also get a little bit of the Brioni EDP that they released this year. Actually, I think theirs is an EDT. They did a sort of very fresh woody oud scent earlier this year, which I'm going to talk about in a second. That one's $275. If someone were trying to talk you into purchasing this, I think they would tell you that the price is just bananas. At that price, the quality is a no-brainer. Maybe the best presentation I've ever seen from a designer house. It's unique and it's versatile. I think if someone were trying to talk you out of this, the only thing they could say, the only thing is you kind of have to hunt this down a little bit, and it might not perform what you're looking for in like a beast mode fragrance. So I toyed heavily with a 10 out of 10 on Icon, and I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10, but all of my 10 out of 10s are just really great performers, from Fahrenheit to Interlude Man, and this just falls a little bit short, so I'm going to give this a 9.5 out of 10. The scent is awesome, it's original, the bottle's insane, it's versatile, it smells good, and it's modern. It's as good as perfume gets at this price point. And I want to talk real quickly before we finish up. Brioni and Loro Piana are probably my two favorite Italian designers. I love Brioni at the suit level and at the dress-up level, and I love Loro Piana as the sort of casual level. Now, Loro Piana, to my knowledge, has not done a fragrance yet. Brioni did two. They did one a while ago, and then they recently really went for it this year with one that cost $275. And that's sort of a lighter oud scent that is meant to smell modern and masculine and not daring. And I feel like this one and that one are very close in terms of what they went for. They both went to redo their house and show that they could make really modern, excellent perfumes. Dunhill and Brioni both sort of did that this year. Actually, I think Brioni did it last year. But Brioni really dropped the ball. They charging $275 for that fragrance. The bottle is heavy and beautiful, but it is almost impossible to hold because it's so rectangular. It just doesn't fit nicely in the hand. So $275 for this, $275 for the Brioni, $55 for the Dunhill. The Dunhill performs better, and the Dunhill, in my eyes, is a better presentation. So I think Dunhill really outdid themselves. I think that if you're looking for that oud scent you could pick up at an apartment store, and this might not be available in an apartment store, this is so far and away number one. It's better than the Gucci oud that I've smelled. It's better than the Varvatos oud. It's better than the Polo oud. I haven't tried the Boss bottled oud yet, but this, for the price, this is as good as it gets, guys. I know you trust me. Trust me on this one. Check this one out. Buy it. Buy it. You will not be let down. So that has been my review on Icon by Dunhill. We're actually going to do two niche reviews over the next 2 weeks because I try to go back and forth, niche designer or niche cheapie or niche indie. And so since we did Dior and Parfum last week and we're doing Icon this week, we'll do two over the next weeks. So many more videos for you guys. Hope you're enjoying the channel. You know what it is. My name is
Maximilian. Money today. I'm feeling real naughty. You coming with me, girl? You feeling it, shorty? The mall love me, baby. The dealer adore me, but still find me up in Haji, still in the 40s.